In this video, let's take a look at Cartoon Animator 5 and how we can create a talking head from a generated image. So here we see the ability to create a character. We're going to click on Create Character. We're in stage mode right now, and we're going to select File. Now, if you already have an SVG or a PSD, you can use those. But in this case, I'm just going to use a JPEG that I have, and we're going to select our file, and we're going to open it. Now, this is an image that was generated for me from DALL-E 3, and I want to turn it into a talking head. So I'll close the bone editor for now. This Cartoon Animator 5 is it's a pretty amazing piece of software that allows you to do some really cool stuff. Now we've imported the image. I'm going to go up to the face editor and I'm going to say create head. So there's three options here. The option I'm going to go with is convert to morph based head. Alright, what we're going to see now is this ability to use the crop tool to grab what the head needs to be. Now, do we need the whole? We can, or we can just do the head. So let's just take a look and grab the head. So I'm going to click on the crop tool, and you see there's other tools here that you have that you could use. Okay, so we're going to grab here, we're going to crop, and we'll go with just the head. And I'll try to line things up approximately, but if you're not perfect, that's okay, because guess what? You can still adjust. You can make them bigger, or you can grab them like that and move it, so it's not like you're penalized for anything. Now I think I tilted it, which I don't want to do that. I want it to be straight. Okay, that looks about right. Now I'm going to click, let's go up just a little bit. So the collar, well, the collar is going to be in there, isn't it? Okay, so let's grab more. You just got to get the square. We'll go to the bottom of the collar, and you see how the icon turned into a square? That allows you to grab and move it. Otherwise, you're grabbing the whole image, or you're doing the tilt-a-whirl thing. So let's click next. We'll click apply first here. Okay, so there's our head that we want. Then we'll click next. Right, now it wants you to identify the eyes and the edges of the mouth. So here we go. This will be a little interesting to see how we do with this, because the mouth sometimes can be challenging. The eyes, they're a little bit easier once you get the hang of what the eyes are, but it takes quite a few cycles to get things where you want them, and that's okay. That's part of the fun of doing this. Right, so now that we've got that, and it seems to want to be on the primary monitor. Not sure if it's just my computer, but okay. So right there, it used our points to say, okay, this is where your eyes are, which we know they're not, and the mouth is not there. But here you can immediately
eyes closing,
start to
and blinking,
test it, which is pretty crazy, pretty cool. Let's make it a little bit smaller, and let's do the mouth this time.
A-E-I.
And it looks like the window doesn't want to size right, so let me make the window smaller. It's probably my machine. This is not a super powerful laptop by any scope, so I'll make it like that. Let's see if we can see them.
A-E-I.
So you can see how high it is. And this is not hurting the image or anything like that. It's just my computer is not perfectly tuned to do some of this stuff. There you go. see the mouth is way up here.
I.
That's not what we want.
O.
And you can see here with the
Eyes closing and blinking.
kind of slits, so we don't want that. So this tool is really cool, and let's play around with this. I found that this actually is helpful to go with the detail facial mode. Puts more dots, so that offers me a greater ability to do some stuff with the mouth, etc. So I'm gonna change the face here. I will make this a little bit bigger to try and work with it a little bit easier. So I'm gonna bring the jawline down here. One thing you're gonna want to do is test after you make a change.
A.
Okay, you see how that got
E.
wonky? But
I.
it's also possible that it's just the mouth that's messing up. So you have to play a little bit here to get a feel, and it's going to be a play per image. I'm sure the pros at this are really good. I am way not close to being a pro, and probably never will be. So yeah, but it's still pretty impressive with what you can do. So I think we'll just focus on the mouth for now and see what we can do. You can see here, it's kind of like lips, I guess, if you want to consider it that way. And then we want to bring this guy down. Okay. And we'll bring this guy a little bit further down here.
A.
Okay, now that dragged
E.
the nose.
I.
And the mouth is now
O.
here. So you can see this is definitely a process of trial and error. Let's bring this up a bit.
A. E. I. O.
So not as bad.
U.
Still funny though, because the
And
lip is being busted up.
meow.
Or not the lip, rather, but the tongue. So we're not a fan of that. So the tongue needs to be here, I think, if I'm interpreting this correctly. And we'll bring this up a little bit more to kind of grab there, and same thing here. Now, you'll also find that if you go full green, you're going to move the whole mouth. So that gets moved around. So just, you know, your mileage will vary. But let's take a look now. Let's click off.
A. E. I.
Still not our ideal state.
O.
So we can tighten this up a little bit. Tighten this up a little bit. Let's see how close this gets us.
A. E.
Okay, so now that's grabbing
I.
just the bottom of that.
O.
It's pretty precise. I mean, it's quite amazing actually. Let's go here. It's a really nice tool. And for some time you want to spend being creative, I think it's kind of cool. But everyone's different, so all good. Let's see what we have here.
A. E.
Now it looks like it has
I.
3 mouths. So we gotta go a little bit deeper.
A. E.
The right side's almost there.
I.
There. The right side that I'm looking at. Let me drop this guy. And then let me drop this guy a little bit more. And you can drag them to change the curve. You can also do a mirror, which can be very helpful, but depends on your image. If your image is perfect,
A.
perfectly symmetrical, then that makes sense.
I.
But if it's not, then the mirror kind of can sometimes defeat you.
A. E.
Almost there. We gotta just a little bit more to drop, and maybe, now see that? When you grab, you gotta be just a little careful when you grab. Don't make it green, make the dot green. That's the key, is to make the dot green. So this side looks to be a little off by being that much just lower.
A,
Okay, I
E,
think that about got it. Just
I,
pretty crazy, right? For
O,
how much time you've been watching this video right
U,
now.
and
We've
meow.
got a mouth working like
A,
that. It's just nuts.
E.
Now let's take a look at the eyes. So the eyes definitely are a challenge from the perspective of the eyelids. That's where this gets really interesting when you want to play around, depending on your image. So I found it to be a bit challenging if the image is not straight on, but it definitely can be done. I mean, they have done a great job with this software to allow this to work. So here we go. I'm going to try and see if, and I kept mirror on, which was smart because it'll get me close to hopefully having both sides. And if you can't get it, then just click off and then get it. So, and I'm learning as I go with this. Now you can see here this one's a little bit different, but that's okay for now. We're testing it out. So let's do the eye blink.
Eyes closing
Okay.
and blinking.
Now, do you really want that blue coming down?
Eyes
You
closing
also don't have the full
and
eye
blinking.
being closed here. So that's something else you
Eyes
might want to
closing
play with.
and blinking.
So let's go ahead and let's mess with that. So the blue is getting grabbed and it's not fully closing. So I'm going to click off and I'm going to bring this guy down further. And I'm going to bring this guy down further, which actually makes sense on the other side because that's part of it that isn't really being grabbed well. And I'll put this guy a little bit over to this side as well. And you can again change the slope, right? The curvature is really cool. So let's go up here because we knew we were grabbing some blue. And I think what we want to do is have more of a black get grabbed. So let's try this and this. It's all experimenting. The fun part of the tool, I think at least, but that's just me. So let's go here and let's widen this guy out a little bit and we'll go right about there. Let's see now. Let's see what happens with our eyes.
Eyes closing
Okay, so
and blinking.
interestingly enough, with the black,
Eyes closing
this side looks pretty
and
decent.
blinking.
And this guy, if you think about it, because it's a Dalmatian,
Eyes closing
you know, might have
and
that.
blinking.
But if we wanted it to be more, less black there, then you probably could bring down. So that's interesting. This is whiter here. I'm going to unmirror. I'm going to uncheck the mirror. And I'm going to go a little higher here, kind of like on the other side. And let's see now if we don't grab any of that black, unless you want. I mean, you can definitely grab the black if you want and have it kind of mix it up. I'm gonna try to that. Let's see what we get now.
Eyes closing
Okay,
and blinking.
so that it's not so rolled back. Let's see how that does for us.
Eyes closing and blinking.
I don't think it's better.
Eyes closing and blinking.
And it's pulling the black in more.
Eyes closing
But your lids are
and
totally
blinking.
closed down. So that's pretty
Eyes
good.
closing.
Now let's experiment here with this. So these side guys, I found some different things happen with them. So I'm going to bring these guys in to here. And now I'm going to take a look.
Eyes closing and blinking.
So it doesn't grab them as far. It keeps
Eyes
more
closing.
of the shape here
And blinking.
by not having it out there.
Eyes closing
But it's still messing
and
up here.
blinking.
So for whatever reason, it still is up high. So let's come down here. And let's come down here with this guy too. Let's see what happens.
Eyes closing and blinking.
Can't really tell if there's much difference there.
Eyes closing and blinking.
So then, yeah, maybe this is not correct. Maybe this is for the eyelids. Let's see now by moving them that low.
Eyes closing
Yep. Interesting.
and blinking.
Interesting. It pulls
Eyes
it down.
closing and blinking.
Okay, so we don't want them that low. You learn something every day. So these are not really eyebrows. This is helping with the lids. So we want to curve it a little bit like this. See how that works.
Eyes closing and blinking.
Interesting.
Eyes closing
Eyebrows now are not
and
messed
blinking. Eyes closing and blinking.
with. Okay, so I think we'll just come down a little bit. And we will probably,
Eyes closing
there you go,
and blinking.
not bad.
Eyes closing and blinking.
Okay. We'll uncheck the mirror. We'll adjust this just a hair over here to give it more of a sculpted of the eye. And then I think this is good enough for demo purposes here. So do the eye again.
Eyes closing and blinking and blinking.
Neat. All right, so here we go.
Eyes closing.
Now you could run it through its paces
Up,
for the whole
down, left,
scenario.
right,
You can see
and
the eyes
some
are not
natural
great.
movement.
You can
Eyes
definitely
closing
mess
and
around with this
blinking.
more, and I'll show you
Up,
that in a second.
Down,
But right
left,
now we've got
right,
a little bit
and
of
rolling.
talking head.
A,
All right, the mouth, the
E,
eyes,
I.
don't look too bad. All right, so we'll click next. Right, so face orientation in this case, it's straight on, and you can select a different face style. So the default looks to be this guy, human. It's not a human, but I'm not totally sure. So you want to check. So it's giving you a look here, and then you can rotate it with your mouse to see how things handle, which is super neat. Yeah, I'm not like, don't want that nose, don't want that nose. Nope. This looks pretty close to the side, maybe. This one's not bad. Comic, that seemed pretty good. Here is round. That gets a little messed up when you go to the left. That gets more messed up. Short snout. So you can play with this, but this is for handling angles. Yeah, I think this guy's probably the best. And now you can remove the strength. So if you go up in strength, it's more pronounced, right? It's almost pushing it out in almost a 3D type of fashion, even though it's not. So we're gonna go actually less. And then it's very soft in terms of what's going on. Now again, the eyes still look wonky because the black's being grabbed. You probably should just go right around the white, and then that way it wouldn't look like, oof, losing its eyes, right? Really big time there. But it's still, it's comical. It's just, alright, it's fun. Alright, so we're okay there. So Cartoon Animator now has given us basically a talking head in terms of what we can do. You can see here it's already broken apart all the different things, and you can definitely adjust even more. You can do all sorts of stuff. It's really very powerful. One of the applications you're going to need to install is this Face 3D Tracker. Now I'm not going to show that because that actually has my face on the screen and you don't need to see my mug. But it basically has a pixelated dots around my eyes, mouth, nose, etc. It's picking me up is what it's doing with facial recognition. Why? Because we're going to make our cute little doggy here talk and move around and do stuff. As I said, it turns into a talking head. Well, how do you do that? Right. So we've done the face editor, and again, we can mess around with this. There's way levels of professionalism here that I'll never achieve. For me, this is more than good enough. But you can go back here and you can mess around with the different pieces again, and there's so much, it's not even funny. So notice this though, we're in composer mode, and you'll see the face editor is still up here as one of the menu choices. We're going to click this backstage here, and now we're going to switch over to stage mode. Okay, I'm going to click the image. I'm going to move it up a little bit just because I want to have it more where I can see it here. And now what are we going to do? Well, you can get this to work a couple different ways. Over here you're going to see an icon, Motion Live 2D. So not only do you purchase Cartoon Animator, but you purchase the Motion Live, and you can get it to work with your iPhone if you want. I don't have that version. The version I have works with the computer. So this is the Motion Live. I can click on it there. I believe it's also accessible via here, plugins, Motion Live 2D. So either way, you can click it on the tool strip or you can click it from the menu choice. Doesn't matter. Let's click it from the menu choice. So I started up the Face 3D Tracker, which you're going to need a webcam, and it works with even your built-in webcam if you have it, or if you have a better one, you can get better results. So the camera I'm using here is an external. It's a Logitech C615 webcam. The resolution is set to 640 by 480 and 30 frames per second is what the video is set to. Okay, those are available again in the Face 3D Tracker app that you need to install, fire up, and now we're going to connect to that app. So we're going to click on Face 3D here, and you can see right now it's trying to pick up my microphone. I'm going to go to a Logitech USB headset, so that's going to have that now in there. And we're going to select over here for Face 3D. And that's it. Now you've established the connection to the Face 3D Tracker software. And you can also do the body and hand, and there's a lot of other cool stuff here. Definitely recommend digging deeper into the support. The first step before we preview is to set the zero pose. What is that? All that is you looking directly into the camera and then clicking that button. That's it. You look directly into your camera, and you want to probably be straight on with it. That's your best bet. And then you've set the zero pose. And you can see here, if I make this a little bigger, if we can, nope, apparently we can't. There's a reset thing here. Okay, so as we scroll down here, there's a lot of settings. You can modify the strength of the brows, the eyelids, the whole 9 yards. It's super powerful stuff. I'm just going to leave the defaults. I am not a professional, nor will I ever be. I like having fun with this stuff. So yeah, that's some other options here that you can try out, see what happens. But the mask allows you to turn on and off different features. So if you don't want the eyebrows, then you can unselect them. If you don't want the eyes, you don't want the, you can just click on it. Right. Blink both eyes, I'll check that. And that's about it for now. Let's see what we can do here. Let's click preview, and then you have to press your space bar. And now if I start looking and talking, you can see that my lips are moving and my eyes, I can look up, I can look to the left, to the right. It's crazy, right? That's why crazy talk, I guess, is what the application was before. But at the end of the day, this allows you to make your character talk. Is it perfect? Nah. Is it really good? Yeah. So for the time I've invested in this video, just a little bit longer of a video, you can see though, wow, I've got the ability to do that. And I can change my head a little bit. I can turn to the side, which doesn't look great because I haven't really done a good job customizing this. I can look up, I can look down, but you can at least get it to trap. So the face 3D tracker, that's what is working to trap the face and allow the eyes and the mouth to move, as well as the head if you go side to side a little bit. So depending on where you want to put this, you can record it. You can then merge it in with a video or something else that you want to do. It can become more interactive for users in looking at things. It's just a fun way to make something come alive. And it's not perfect, but it's still pretty neat. So that is Cartoon Animator, Face 3D Tracker, and the Talking Head ability within Cartoon Animator 5. Thanks.